My name is Rachel Mara, a Springboarder at Girl Spring, and this is Miss Laura Quick, the founder of Good Grit. Good Grit gives a voice to the people, places, and things that most articulates the character of the South. We're so happy to have you here today. Could you please elaborate a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, well, you're right. My name is Laura Quick, and I am the owner and founder of Good Grit. Good Grit is a company that is a storytelling company, so that's what we do. We tell stories. We believe that the most powerful currency that we have while we're on this planet is the currency of connection. And we think there's no greater tool to connect with than the power of story.
What is your exact title?
I am the CEO.
Okay. Could you explain what you do on a daily basis?
Absolutely. Well, when you're the owner of the company and the CEO, every day can look really different. We have 10 full-time employees, but we have over 200 subcontractors. So videographers, photographers, writers, illustrators, tons of people that do meaningful work that contribute to the greater storytelling effort. So my days can look like leading my team, investing in them. They're all really smart, capable. We're an all-girl team at Good Grit, so only women work for us on our core staff, which has been really fun. And so my days look like encouraging and empowering them to be the best leaders that they can be while they're leading those 200 subcontractors in the effort of storytelling.
Did you always know that this is what you wanted to do?
Oh no, Lord have mercy. I spent most of I always knew when all of my little friends, when we were little, would play with like Barbies and plan their weddings and all of that. I always wanted everyone to come around a table and pretend that we were having a very important meeting and I was leading it. So,
Where it all starts.
But I didn't really know what that meant. When I was little, I'd come from a family that's mostly blue collar, and blue collar, which means they're hard workers, factory workers. My grandfather was a factory worker. My grandmother worked a garden her whole life. I mean, she never had a job and she never knew how to drive. And so, and they were the two biggest impacts in my life when I was a little girl. My dad worked multiple jobs, and my mom was a drug addict, and she left when I was just a little over a year old. And so I didn't really have anyone model what it would look like to do what I do in my family. But as I got older and I met people and throughout school, I think the most powerful thing is just to have a couple of teachers and mentors along the way who see something in you that maybe no one in your family would ever call out, and to say like, hey, I see something special in you and I just think you're made for greatness. And I believed them. I believed when my grandfather would say, man, you're gonna grow up and do something. You can do anything you wanna do. The world is yours. And
I could tell you're a very good storyteller, just the way you're talking.
I love you, Rachel. Thank you for that, girl. Oh my gosh.
No problem. Are there any special skills that you need to have to go into like entrepreneurship, like type of business that you're in?
Yes. I believe in order to be an entrepreneur, you have to be really okay with failing a lot. Like, I'm talking about falling on your face planting, failing. And you have to have the tenacity and grit to say, even though I failed 10 times yesterday, I will get back up and I will do it again. And I think that there is a cultural issue right now around thinking that if I just tried really hard one time, it should just all work out. And that is absolutely the opposite of what entrepreneurship is. Entrepreneurship is being obsessed with solving a problem and having a very clear understanding on what that problem is and the group of humans you're solving it for. And knowing that just because you want to solve a problem doesn't mean you're always going to solve it right when you start trying. And so I think that resilience is really important, adaptability, and being okay failing, like knowing that you're not defined when a process or a procedure or an endeavor fails, that doesn't define you. It just means the way you tried it might not have been on point. Maybe you need to go find somebody who knows exactly how to do that and ask them for advice. So those are big ones that I would say you need to have. You need to have personal boundaries. If you want to be an entrepreneur, you need to really understand and articulate what those are and what it means to you. If you don't know where you start and stop, then it will be very difficult to serve others because you're going to end up running yourself in the ground. So personal boundaries is really important. Kindness is very important. Generosity when you're poor. Please be generous. Be a generous person. And what that means is when you don't have money, you have time. When you don't have time, you normally have money. So make sure that you are a good steward with what you have in your hands and that you're giving that to others, because what we give in this world will get back. Specifically, if you are an entrepreneur and you're trying to solve a problem, make sure that you're serving in the area of the problem you want to solve.
I honestly agree with that. Like with being an entrepreneur and failing, like not just with entrepreneurship, like I feel like sometimes people tend to give up once they see that they fail, because you start to lose hope. So I do really agree with like just continue doing it, because it will get better. Like you may have not did the best way, like the best method. So I really do agree with that. What is the big piece, like one of the biggest piece of advice you've ever received from someone?
Oh, I don't know if I could narrow that to one. The best piece of advice I've ever received: take care of yourself. And you cannot pour from an empty cup. If I have a team of 10 women who are looking to me to be a good leader, to take care of them, to love on them, to encourage them to be the best leaders they can be, I can't do that from an empty cup, right? So how do I get full? I get full in my spiritual practice and spending time with God. I get full in journaling. I get full in exercising and taking care of my body. Reading, I love to read. I think I've read like one book a week this whole year. So I think that's really important, to know the things that rejuvenate you and to do them first, because you can't even be a good mom and you cannot be a good wife if you aren't good at doing those things. And so being really intentional with understanding the things that keep you full so that you have something to pour out.
Okay. Well, that is the end of our interview. I am Rachel Marr, Springboarder at Girl Spring, and this is Ms. Laura Quick, the founder of Good Grit. Thank you so much for watching.